Almost 4 weeks before the end of the Brexit transition phase, pessimism is spreading within the EU. After the restart of negotiations on a Brexit trade pact, EU negotiator Michel Barnier still sees no significant progress, according to diplomats. There is cause for pessimism, said a diplomat on Monday morning after Barnier briefed the EU ambassador. The same problems remained. The negotiations would continue, but another diplomat added a balance sheet for Monday evening. The outcome is still open, said a third diplomat. The EU stands ready to make its final efforts to find a fair, sustainable and balanced deal for the citizens of the EU and the UK. It is now up to the UK to choose between such a positive outcome and a no deal, he said. The British side had previously denied reports that there had been a breakthrough on the controversial fishing issue at the weekend. This is one of the critical points. Particularly controversial are also the EU demand for fair competition and the instruments for punishing violations of the planned agreement. And recently in the comments, more and more people write what the UK is planning to do and that it's not our thing to stop them from doing that. But exactly what you're writing in these comments is the reason why a level playing field is so important, because with those plans you claim are made for the future of the UK, will not allow the UK to enter the internal market anymore. I can tell you that. And this should regulate the trade relations as early as January. That is why the negotiators are under enormous time pressure. Ireland's Foreign Minister Simon Coveney was also not very hopeful after a briefing from Barnier. He told Irish broadcaster RTE, "The news is very pessimistic." After Barnier had briefed on the state of affairs, Barnier appeared very dejected and cautious about the prospects for progress. This means that there have been no signs of a breakthrough in the potentially decisive negotiations between the European Union and Great Britain. According to EU diplomats, there is still no agreement on the three main points of contention: future fishing rights, guarantees for fair competition, and a dispute settlement mechanism in the event of violation of the planned agreement. With the internal market bill being in the House of Commons again today, and Boris Johnson's plans to reject the amendments of the House of Lords, which means the breach of the international treaty, the withdrawal agreement is back, that would be a very good reason for the EU to be cautious like hell. The EU offers Great Britain free trade in goods without tariffs and quantity restrictions, but also without dumping environmental or social standards and subsidies. And access for British services, which are vital for the British economy, to the single market. Most of those services are not covered by the WTO. And the WTO, which is so loved by many people who've never read these WTO rules and have not a single clue about what WTO rules means, services will not have a lot of access to the internal market. And the Britain economy is really, and I have to repeat that, really dependent on them. The EU, on the other hand, does not want its market to be opened up to companies that have to comply with lower standards and can therefore produce more cheaply. The second major issue, fisheries, is the amount that EU fishermen are allowed to catch in British waters. And with all these people always claiming this is British fish, this is our waters, and no other country got the demands from the EU that they want our fish. Just to make it more simple to understand, the fish in the waters of the other countries is first very far away, and secondly not being bred in EU waters. And the fish of the other countries will probably be eaten by the people of the other countries as well. The fish caught in UK waters, the people in the UK don't eat this fish. It's exported to the EU. You don't even eat that fish that you want to keep for yourself. So there are many things that are really ridiculous in the comments under the videos. The second you start talking, you might before that start thinking a bit, or at least start reading something yourself, but tabloids. We are talking about quotas and a clause to review the regulations after a certain period, a so-called revision clause. The outcome is still open. It can go in both directions, said Brussels. The game is now in the final phase. Time is running out quickly. Further rounds of negotiations are supposed to be scheduled until tonight. On Monday evening, which is tonight, EU Commission President Dr. Ursula von der Leyen and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will assess the status of the talks. If there is not an agreement on future relationships, including free trade arrangements, in the next few days, there is a risk of a hard Brexit in early 2021 with major disruptions for the economy. And you can't extend that more and more and more and have it work from January 1st. Today really is a decisive point because everybody wanted to be ready today, because on the 10th there is the EU summit and they also have to decide on a deal, and then there are the parliaments after all the translation and checking of the translated documents and so on and so on. I explained this in several videos before. So the EU and Great Britain continue to struggle for a trade pact. Because there's still no sign of a breakthrough, the mood is rather bad. Both sides blame each other. Under massive time pressure, Great Britain and the EU are still trying to agree on a trade pact. But after the end of the Brexit transition phase at the turn of the year, it is intended to prevent dramatic economic upheavals on both sides. And for those who always claim, I always say the UK side, then you haven't watched enough of my videos. I made a lot of videos about the consequences for the EU. I made a lot of videos about the consequences for the German economy. So just have a look in the playlist, it's there. EU Commission Chief von der Leyen and Johnson want to telephone again tonight to see whether an agreement can still be reached. And that would be last minute. I know I repeat this some time and time again in this video, but those are now really important points. And I just want everyone to have the chance to listen, because some people don't listen very properly, as I can see in the comments. The negotiators on both sides, David Frost and Michel Barnier, had resumed the thread of talks in Brussels yesterday. However, the prospects of a breakthrough are dim. Johnson and von der Leyen continued to complain about fundamental conflicts after their phone call on Saturday. But they said they did not want to give up yet. It remained unclear whether negotiators would now have greater scope for concessions. EU Chief Negotiator Barnier has also expressed himself rather pessimistic about the chances of an agreement. And much is at stake. If the talks actually fail, there will be tariffs and other trade barriers between Great Britain and the continent at the turn of the year. And this is just the smallest of all problems appearing because of Brexit. And some of the idiots commenting under my videos are saying I'm sounding more and more desperate. No, I'm sounding more and more annoyed, because I really can't believe how stupid people can be to damage their own countries. And I'm talking about both sides of the aisle there, and some really idiotic views on both sides of the channel. How can you want to harm your own people just to pay somebody distant that you don't even know personally for some harm you're even only imagining in your head? And the end of the year will cause trouble, whatever is happening this week, because then the Brexit transition period will expire, and until then everything stayed the same except the political exit on January 31st. The UK was still in the internal market, the UK was still in the customs union, and so was trading under the EU trade pacts with the rest of the world and all the other pacts. They're not only trade pacts. The EU almost got 800 agreements with other countries. That's not all trade agreements. It's about other things like staying there for a certain amount of time without visas and all this stuff. And all this will be gone. And in the event of a no-deal Brexit, the economy on both sides of the English Channel is expecting severe dislocations. Associations warn of food and drug shortages on the island. It is feared that there will be miles of traffic jams in the hinterland of the ferry terminal in Dover and the entrance to the Eurotunnel in Folkestone. According to a report by The Observer, by the way, the British government is even planning to fly in the corona vaccine recently approved in the country by the German company BioNTech and its US partner Pfizer with military aircraft. And this is to prevent the longed-for remedy from falling victim to the feared traffic chaos. Traffic jams are expected even in the case of a deal, because additional formalities will arise even without customs duties. And if you look through my playlist, there are a lot of more examples besides the normal trade stuff for the consumers everybody's only talking about, that none of these Brexiteers that are really annoying, I don't mean all Brexiteers, I mean the annoying ones in my comments, they never think about this stuff. And they obviously never read a single rule or deal or anything themselves. Not funny how some people think they can go through life. But there are a lot of reasonable viewers with very constructive comments, and with all the complaining from time to time about comments about this, I just want to say thank you to those viewers, leavers, remainers, neutrals, observers from the outside, that try to have a constructive discussion, to exchange arguments constructively in the comments with people of another opinion. I really want to say thank you, and that shows there are reasonable people out there, and I hope you will discuss more in the comments than you did before. I really appreciate that. And for you, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Viel Spaß!